What's up you guys, hope you're having an awesome day. I'm your host Hassan and welcome back to another video. Now I'm back again with more diseases guys, and I'm not even mad about it because at least this way I'm going to be able to qualify as a doctor if I ever leave top 10 one day. I've been learning so much through the research, so hopefully you guys are learning too. Knowledge is power, people. But without further ado, these are the top 10 scary diseases that could wipe out humanity part 3. Starting us off at number 10 is polio, also known as infantile paralysis. This infectious disease is caused by the polio virus, which basically colonizes the gastrointestinal tract, and it's highly contagious. The patient starts to become symptomatic anywhere between 3 days to a month, and then it can evolve into a type of polio that affects your CNS or a type that doesn't. If it does affect your central nervous system, then the patient will start experiencing extreme pain, vomiting, fever, and 1 to 5% of cases progress quite badly to a paralytic disease, and where the muscles become very weak, poorly controlled, and then eventually completely paralyzed. In infants, this can even extend into an infection in their brain tissue, which can then cause seizures, changes in mental stability, and so forth. This disease has literally been around for thousands of years, and despite developing a polio vaccine in the 1950s, we still haven't eradicated it, which means it could wipe out humanity. Coming in at number 9 is syphilis part 1. Now this one, as many of you may know, is an STI, meaning it's sexually transmitted, or it can be passed from a mother to her child during pregnancy. And this one will be a bit of a novel to explain since you have it in one of 4 stages, either primary, secondary, latent, or tertiary. Now in the primary stage, you get it via direct sexual contact with the actual lesions on the other person. And you yourself will develop a lesion anywhere between 3 days to 3 months after that first contact. In the secondary stage, it appears a month to 10 weeks after, and this one manifests on your actual skin, not just your genitalia. It causes a bunch of non-itchy pink rashes, it can cause warts, fever, weight loss, and in rare occurrences it can cause kidney diseases and inflammation of your optic nerves and joints. That's only the first 2, so let's get on to number 8. At number 8 is syphilis part 2. Now the tertiary stage can actually occur 3 to 15 years after initially being infected, and usually people who leave the infection untreated will develop into the tertiary stage. In this stage, tumor-like balls start forming, and they can literally grow anywhere on your skin, your bones, your liver, etc. And of course, congenital syphilis is passed via pregnancy, but most kids are born without symptoms. And the bad thing about syphilis is how common it is. In 2015, 45.4 million people were infected and 107,000 people died from it. Now there are antibiotics you can take to help reduce the infection. You can wear protection during sex, but we don't just have to deal with syphilis now, we have to deal with super syphilis, which is what the infection has been dubbed since becoming more and more resistant to antibiotics. Say what now? Resistant, you say? Now when an infection literally mutates like that, it's like natural selection for an infection. The strongest ones who are most immune to the medication survive and then infect other people. So the virus just gets stronger and more resistant to medication, and then we start worrying. Filling on number 7 slot, we have rotavirus. Now this contagious virus causes immense amounts of diarrhea. The virus is found in the person's feces several days before they actually become symptomatic and can stay there 10 days after recovery as well. You can get infected if, say, you put your unwashed hands that are contaminated into your mouth, if you eat contaminated food, or if you touch any contaminated surface and then put your hands in your mouth. So this is very common amongst kids who apparently have to put their hands in their mouth after everything. And keep in mind, when you take a shit and then flush, those particles come upwards, so you can easily get those particles in your mouth. It's not like people are out here scooping shit and putting it in their mouth. No one does that. Like I said, it's mostly children who get this one, and within 2 days they'll be feverish, vomiting, and letting out a lot of watery diarrhea. The poop will usually be black or tarry looking and can even include blood or pus. There are 111 million cases of this annually, and around 440,000 deaths in kids under the age of 5. Now at number 6 is hepatitis C. Now this infectious disease that we've all heard of and have been told to get our vaccines for is mostly transmitted via intravenous drug use. In the developing world, it's mostly transmitted via unsafe medical procedures or blood transfusions. But 20% of worldwide cases have unknown transmission sources, so I mean, there's that. Are we just gonna I guess we're just gonna sweep that under the rug. Now, acute symptoms develop 2 weeks to 6 months after, and they're usually mild things like body pain, vomiting, dark urine, jaundice, and so forth. However, 80% of people develop a chronic infection, and in this type, the person can easily not show symptoms for the first few decades. But they'll always be fatigued, it can lead to liver cancer, it's very common to develop cirrhosis, especially within people who are infected and drink a lot. In 2015, 143 million people were infected, and most deaths occurred due to the development of liver cancer or cirrhosis. Coming in at number 5 is leprosy, aka Hansen's disease. Now, the way leprosy spreads isn't fully understood by researchers yet, so I don't really know how I'm meant to explain it to you guys, but the respiratory tract is the most likely route, and the source of the disease is apparently armadillos. Most people, if exposed to an infected person, aren't actually infected unless they have extensive contact with that person. Symptoms include eye problems, development of skin lesions, muscle weakness, thickening of facial hair, loss of feeling in your fingers and toes, and in some cases you can even become impotent. You can stay asymptomatic for nearly 5 years before actually showing, and the first sign of it are pink patches of skin that are completely numb to touch. Those patches can cause nerve problems, and that is reversible if treated early, but if not, that can actually cause paralysis. This is another ancient disease that hit its peak at 5.2 million cases in the 80s, but that's dropped to about 173,000 cases as of 2016. So we are getting lower, but it's still very much out there. At number 4 is typhoid, and I don't know how it took me 3 parts in this series to finally mention this bacterial disease, but better late than never, you guys. I'm always on it. Now, there's no animal source for this one. Humans are the only known species that carry this disease, and it's usually spread through the fecal-oral route, which I already explained for the rotavirus. There are 4 stages of symptoms when you have the typhoid fever. The first includes fever fluctuations, a bloody nose, a decrease in your white blood cell count, and a cough. That already seems absolutely awful, and that's only the first stage. I don't want to go on, but I must. Now, in the second week, the person is too weak to get up, and delirium can also occur at this stage. Rosy spots start appearing on the person's chest and ab area, and you start hearing these rattling sounds from their lungs. Diarrhea can also happen at this point, and the spleen and liver can swell up as well. Do we want to talk about week 3? We must. Now, week 3 can bring about many complications, including pneumonia, intestinal hemorrhage, muttering delirium, even more fever, and the risk of bleeding increases tenfold. At the end of these awful 3 weeks, you may be cured or you may get worse. In 2015, 12.5 million cases were reported, and 150,000 of those were fatal. Do not take typhoid lightly, people. Filling our number 3 slot is diphtheria. Now, the source of this infection is unknown. We have no idea whether it was an animal or not, so we're just gonna assume it originated from humans somehow until researchers tell me otherwise. You can get infected by someone infected coughing or sneezing near you, and via contact with any of the skin lesions that an infected person has. Now, after that exposure, you start becoming symptomatic between 2 to 7 days after, and that includes a fever, a sore throat, your skin turning bluish, difficulty and pain swallowing and breathing, and blood-stained, bad-smelling nasal discharge. Ugh. Within 2 days, the infection starts attacking and destroying tissue in the respiratory system, and that dead tissue builds up, forming a grey coating. Now, that coating covers your nose, your tonsils, and throat, which is why it becomes so painful to breathe or even swallow. It can result in bull neck as well, which is a massively swollen neck and throat. The 70s saw 1 million cases of the infection yearly, but nowadays it's a lot more uncommon, thank God. The death rate in cases is still 5 to 10% though, so I mean, we're not completely safe, are we? Now, at number 2 is mumps. MMR vaccine, people, let's get it. I've said this twice now. Listen to your resident top 10 doctor. I'm not qualified, but I know a shit ton. Okay? Now, this viral disease is highly contagious and spreads ASAP Rocky. It's spread via sneezing and coughing, and of course direct contact with the infected person. We already know this by now, these are the basics. The patient becomes symptomatic around 2 weeks after exposure, and it's usually more severe in adults than it is kids. Now, you're contagious before even becoming symptomatic, a lot like coronavirus, so that's just fantastic. The person will start feeling muscle pain, feverish, their parotid salivary glands will swell up a lot, kinda looking like bull neck as well. Complications occur in 15% of cases, and that could mean pancreatitis, inflammation of your heart or testes, and even permanent deafness. It's completely preventable if you've had 2 doses of the MMR vaccine, so hello! Listen to me. 1% of the world's population is still affected every year, so come on now. Come on people, let's listen to me. And finally, at number 1 is gastroenteritis, aka infectious diarrhea. And this is caused by so many factors, by parasites, fungus, a certain type of bacteria, etc. You can get it from drinking contaminated water or sharing something like a water bottle with an infected person. One of the biggest causes is actually bottle feeding kids with improperly sanitized bottles. Come on guys, the kids deserve more care than that. A lot of adults actually act as reservoirs for this disease because they could have developed immunity to it but still carry the organisms. The person will become symptomatic within 12 to 72 hours, and diarrhea and vomiting will hit them like a truck. Dehydration is very common as well because of the diarrhea, and that can lead to poor skin turgor, which means the person's skin will look very sunken. Now don't laugh at me, but the Bristol stool chart, which is essentially a chart showing what kind of you may be excreting, is actually really helpful with gastroenteritis. In developing countries, malnutrition mixed with this disease can cause stunted growth as well. In 2015, there were 2 billion cases, with 1.3 million of those resulting in death. Even in 2011, there were 1.7 billion cases. So this is not a joke. This whole list was not a joke. And that's it for today's video, guys. Despite how I'm dressed, you really can trust what I'm saying is accurate. I'm very good on research, I swear to you. I'm not about spreading fake news. This is all factual, so I hope I've educated you. I've definitely educated myself. I know way too much about all these things now, especially syphilis. But either way, let me know if you like these kind of videos in the comments below. As always, I've been your host, Ayman Hassan. Stay diligent, and I'll see you next time. Bye!